Hi. 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 Hello. Hi. That recording's gone. That recording is all gone. Did OBS kill itself? I was running Unreal Engine in the background and then trying to bake with Blender in the foreground. And I forgot I had Unreal Engine open. I probably shouldn't have had that open because Unreal Engine takes up all your GPU. So, fuck. Fuck. I get to do that whole recording again. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. No, that's fine. I love talking. I love talking. Any backup? Well, I didn't lose any of my files because I was just talking about what to do. So no, I didn't lose any files. Just lost time and patience. Yeah. So in case you didn't watch attempt 1, hello. You're trying to render in UE5, but you don't know what the fuck's going on, and you don't know how to move your shit from Blender to UE5. I understand that. It's annoying. Yeah, it's just annoying. You thought I'd say there's an upside, but, you know, it's just annoying. However, UE5 does have a much better real-time renderer than Blender's real-time renderer. Eevee is, I believe, a branch of Unreal Engine 3. So hypothetically, you'd like to be rendering in Unreal Engine 5 in 2022. Hypothetically. And I'm hoping that this will help you bring your shit from Blender to UE5 so that you can render out of UE5 rather than using Eevee or Cycles, both of which take longer and either look worse or multiply the waiting time for rendering by like 10 minimum. So yeah. Chat is still on from last stream? Of course it is. You know, I should have wrote a script. People write script for these, right? There's like a good way to script these out, and I'm just kind of like, not. I have completely lost my flow since that shit crashed. You know what? I'm gonna make sure it doesn't crash again. I'm gonna make sure it doesn't crash again, because now I'm worried. Let's try that again. Hold on. I'm gonna try that again to make sure that nothing's gonna go fuck up. Because now I'm concerned. Yeah, everything's still in place. Okay, good. How are you guys? Hypothetically. How are you hypothetically? Okay. How am I? Annoyed. I was fine before, and then the computer crashed and I lost my recording. So now I'm here. Yeah, PC got baked. Let's see if it crashes again. You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. Never microwave PC. I'll think about it. Okay, bake. Don't crash on me. I swear to God. Swear to God. Don't do it. Okay, well now it's fine. That's great. I guess I have to start this whole thing over. You know, because it's fun and all that. I just want to make sure it doesn't crash while I'm exporting textures. Woo? Yeah, I agree. I agree fully. Cool. Looks like it did fine this time. How has day been? It's been okay. The hell? Oh yeah, it must just be emission strength. Yeah, there you go. Cool. How fun is animating? Not. It's not. Tell us, are you being held hostage? Yes, and I need someone from chat who is big and strong to save me. Smile. Guess I'll start from the beginning. Guess I'll do this all over again. Yeah. Okay. Tutorial. You want to render in Unreal Engine 5. You don't want to render in Blender. You made your stuff in Blender, but it takes 9 years to render anything out of it, and since you're rendering an animation, it would take 18,000 years to render your 5-minute porn loop, and you don't want to wait 18,000 years. You've heard of Unreal Engine 5, and you've seen stuff looks really good in it, but you also don't know how the fuck to bring anything over. You have done some of the tutorials. You know how to open a level? Because I'm not going to teach you that. I'm not going to teach you how to make a level. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to teach you how to animate. I'm not going to teach you how to compile your own materials in Blender. I'm not going to do that. I'm not. What I am going to teach you is how to bring your assets over from Blender to UE5 successfully. That is what I will teach you. That is the point of this tutorial. That is what I'll be doing. I am pointing. All right? Here's fancy trick 0. Fancy tip and trick 0 is to know that you're going to do this from the get-go. It's really important that you have a naming system in place for all of your assets. It's really important because when you make a material in Blender and that name is not the same name for what you make in Unreal Engine, you'll have to start putting shit together yourself. And that's annoying when it could have been done automatically. So tip 0, know that you're going to port shit from the get-go. Naming conventions, system of like where you keep your textures and assets, really important. Have a system in place. It'll save you in the future. Front load the work. Front load the work. Don't give it to future you. Future you will just hate you and it'll be annoying. Do it now. Fix everything now. What that also means is that for your materials, you can only use principled BSDF. Don't do anything else. Don't use any other BSDF. Gaming Devil, do you know what fucking stream you're on? Are you blind or stupid? Can you read? Dumbest comment yet. Anyways, use BSDF. Don't use glass. Don't use subsurface. Don't use translucent or transmissive or whatever. Just this. Some things you'll want to get beforehand. I use Simple Bake. This is the program, the add-on that I use to get shit from Blender to Unreal Engine successfully. That is what I use. I use Simple Bake. You can bake with Blender's own bullshit if you want. I don't use this because I want to bake PBR. I want to bake with PBR, so I use Simple Bake. I'd recommend that whatever settings that you use, that you set up a preset for it, because it's just gonna be easier for you in the future, especially if you find out that you have to bake over 20 different materials, because there is no good plugin for it. There is no easy plugin for this. There is no easy way to do this. There's the right way, which is the hard way, and then there's the wrong way, which is you trying to take a shortcut and then fucking everything up. Do it the right way, and then be done with it. It's another tip 0 thing that I can tell you. Okay, so you're done with your animation. You got everything in order. You're ready for this to be put into a rendering engine like UE5. You're ready. Let's start with materials. I'm going to start with my character because it's kind of important that we have our character looking correctly. Kind of important. A little bit important. The way that I would recommend bringing your materials over is to bake them via planes. Don't bake according to the object that they exist on. Bake it on a plane, because you just want the textures. You just want the texture the way it looks. The UVs are going to come over just fine. You don't got to worry about UV baking. That's already set. You just have to worry that you have the textures that you can just plug into the Unreal Engine that will give you the information of how this looks in Blender to how it will look in Unreal Engine. That's all that matters. So spawn in however many planes that you need for your character, and then get ready to assign the materials from your character to that plane. So I know for my V1 model that I am using 2 materials. I'm going to make 2 planes. Very shocking. The math lines up. I'm going to get rid of my set for now. Plane number 1, plane number 2. Blood machine. Blood machine glass. There we go. I lied. There's a 3rd. Blood machine wings. I lied to you. I lied. This will not be the first time that I lied to you. Glass. Wings. Great. Everything's there now. Fantastic news. Now, I've already told you that you need to use BSDF principled. I've already told you that. But if you're using any fancy viewport effects, like layered weight or anything like that to get a certain look, you need to get rid of it and put it back in later. So I know that for my glass, I used to have a layered weight on my roughness. When you're in Unreal Engine, you can plug in Fresnel onto that after the fact. If you try to bake with this currently, it will fuck up your map, and you don't want that. You can put that effect back in later. For now, anything that is viewport based, get rid of it, because Cycles is gonna bake based upon every angle of that texture, and it'll just ruin it. So I'm gonna name these planes after my materials. Copy and paste, simple as. No other bullshit needed. I don't know why these are the same. I think I'm stupid, maybe. There we go. Great, success, we did it. All right. Something that I recommend if you're baking down entire environments worth of textures, which could be like 60 materials or so, is that you set up a convention for what sort of textures that you bake down into your EXR. Why are you doing this? Oh my god, hold on. Son of a fucking bitch. I love Blender. Why did that go away? I don't even know how to... There we go. Will this all be on the quiz? If you give a shit, yeah. If you don't use Blender or Unreal Engine, just leave the stream, probably. It's for the best. You know, if this is a tutorial, why not keep this video on? What? Anyways. Hold on, I gotta restart Blender because it's fucking stupid. 1 second. 1 moment. Motherfucker. You love to see it. You love to see random bullshit. Oh wait, maybe I'm dumb. Yeah, don't worry, I was just stupid. It's fine. You want to assign a bake object before you try to load up a preset. I'm just fucking stupid. It happens all the time. I'm trying to absorb all this info. I've only imported object, but I have a mighty need for materials. Okay. I recommend Simple Bake. It is a plugin on Blender Market. I recommend Simple Bake because it gets you PBR from your material without having to bake down every single thing with Blender's default baking utility. I don't use this ever. Ever. I use Simple Bake. I'd recommend this. You can use a different plugin if you want, but I'm going to be talking about this plugin specifically. I'm going to be working one at a time with these materials since I know they have different properties to worry about. Some of them use clear coat, some of them don't. So if you're using a bunch of materials that have the same properties and all of them have the same bakes, you can go ahead and select multiple objects to bake to multiple different texture files. For me, I'm going to be working one at a time with this character for now. So right now, I need to have my base color, metallic, no specular, so get rid of that. Roughness, sheen, and clear coat are both plugged into glass mask, so I'll just get clear coat.
Hi.
Joined to a very angry Neo and have no plans to use Blender, but we vibing.
Great. Thank you for the $5. I have a mission here, so I'm going to get that too. The problem with a mission that you should be aware of for Simple Bake is that it will only get it from, I believe, the emission map and not the strength. So if need be, you might have to temporarily plug this into your admission. And it could look like things are fucked up, and they might be. So if this gives you the wrong effect, then you might need to adjust that in Unreal Engine later. But the emission map is going to be baked out of emission, not from emission strength. You'll have to set that later in Unreal Engine. God, 9/10 of these comments are fucking garbage. Anyways. I'm going to find out what my resolution size is for my material here, which I can see is 4K. I'm going to bake out 4K because that's what my textures are at. I'm using alpha because I'm going to be using the alpha channel for my EXR pack. Maybe I should just not be streaming this. These comments are fucking stupid. I'm going to be setting up my channel pack according to what I need to pack down. So I'm using metallic, roughness, clear coat, and I can set a mission for now, but that's probably not going to bake properly, so chances are I'll just have to get that as its own separate sRGB. If you want to bake ambient occlusion or thickness, like let's say you have a character that uses subsurface scattering and you want to get the thickness of the mesh, you'll actually need to bake off of that mesh, but I wouldn't bake everything just because it's based upon a mesh. I would still do this as two separate bakes. I would just only get the thickness alone from the mesh itself and then everything else from a plane, because that will give you all of the correct data that you need. Make sure everything's fine. Use alpha, export bakes, everything's good. Normal. If you use UDIMs, you'll have to manually tell how many tiles it is. I'm not worried about that, so that'll be on you if you choose to use that. I'm fine with this. You can change the batch name if you want. For me, I'm okay with this. I'm going to make sure to name my channel packing after the channels that I'm using and what they do. So I'm going to rename this to MRCCE. Add new. Get rid of this. I'm set. Looks like everything's fine. I have the correct thing plugged in. I'm going to set to bake. So now it's baking my material. This will take a little bit of time. It's getting everything baked down into images. If you have an image viewer here, you can see it in progress. Or you could just go and take a piss. It takes like a minute depending on your machine. So I'm just going to wait a little bit. Anything else that I could say while this is going on? Any other fun facts? Don't export meshes that aren't at least quads. If you have any meshes that you're bringing into Unreal Engine and they have above 5 edges, it will just fuck with UE. So when you go to export, maybe apply the triangulate modifier, as long as it doesn't fuck with your normals, because it will just, you're just playing it safe if you do that. Great, so it baked all my images. That's good news. Awesome, I'm glad. Now that I know that my blood machine material is baked, I'm gonna move on to the glass. My nose itches. Fuck. Remove this, add this, see what I need for glass. I'm using diffuse. I'm using specular for this one, so god damn it, motherfucker. Turn off metallic. Keep on roughness. Keep on my normal. Turn on specular. Turn off clear coat and emission. Great, there we go. Now, from what I can tell, I think that I'm using the same texture as this. So a way that you can save your ass in the future is to limit what you bake by what you actually need, so that you don't waste any time and you don't waste any resources baking shit that's already existing. So I know that's the same. I know that I need my, let's see, I need glass. Actually, I'm using strength here. I'm using emission here, so I need to plug that back in. Grab that, plug it into emission. Great. Make sure emission's on 1. Great. And I think everything's set the way I want it. Cool. So it looks like I'll just be grabbing this and packing it all into one channel. If I make my own meshes, if I have UE in mind, then I should just make triangles and stay away from n-gons then. Yep. So I will use roughness, emission, or specular emission. Make sure that I have nothing else that I need to bake. Specular, roughness. If your specular is just like a flat value here and it doesn't use anything with your texture map, what you can do in the future is just unplug the value or unplug the image from your material in UE and just type in the value itself, because it'll be the same factor. If you're afraid that you're going to forget, you can go ahead and bake it, but if you don't think that you'll forget and you're fine with just typing in the number later, it'll be for the best if you just remove one bake that you need. So yeah. It appears that I'm using some subsurface here, but in that case, that's also a flat value, so I can once again just plug that in as its own just float. I can just type in the number itself, then plug it into my material. Is this just for a fancy little tutorial video, or are you going to use this for something? Yeah, I'm going to use it for a tutorial video. You just said it. Da-da. Great, I'm happy with that. Cool. Roughness. Emission. I'll just leave the rest blank. Make sure to label this what I want it to be. RE. Add new. Remove this. There we go. Great, I'm happy with all that. Very good. I'm gonna bake this out now. Make sure that's everything that I want. Am I using the same normal? I might be using the same normal. I think I am. Yep, I can get rid of normal too. Great. Save more time. And let's bake. Shouldn't take all that long. There we go. Image is baked. We're done. Last texture. We have our wings here. Using the same normals, so we don't have to bake normals. Using a different level of emission, so we can bake down emission. Hello, Ensign. We're using clear coat again. It looks like it's the same mask from before, so we don't have to bake clear coat. But we are using specific roughness. We'll bake out our roughness. Same thing with metallic. Yeah, so we're baking down for this one a roughness and metallic map. Clear that. Insert our object to bake. Roughness, emission, metallic. Okay. What does bake mean? That means to have all the information flattened out to just a stream of data that you cannot modify. So when you bake something down, you're taking all of the modified data that you have that can be changed at any time and just saying it's always going to be these values. And it makes it a lot more optimized for machines to use. And it also makes it easy for that information to be transferred across platforms, which is what we're going to do. Change this to a normal map just in case. Everything's fine. I'm going to rename this to what I need. So that's metallic, roughness, emission. Emission. None. Rename this. Metallic, roughness, emission to MRE. Save. Get rid of this. We just want this. That's fine. Make sure everything's good. I like these settings. I'm going to bake this out. Oh, I forgot something. Hold on.
There you go.
Yep, here we go. Just delete this.
I got paid today, so I just wanted to say I'm a huge fan of your work and it inspired me to learn SFM a bit. Even if I don't use Blender personally, your tutorial style is great to listen to.
Well, thank you. I'm assuming that I'm saying your name wrong. Juan Ashman for the $15. Thank you very much. I'm glad you like my tutorial style. Thank you. I'm gonna wait for this bake to be done. Anyone who's actually going to be bringing shit over to Unreal Engine, do you have any questions about baking materials that you want to ask right now? Anything that you want me to go over? I'm gonna plug this back into my my emission strength here. Plug it all back into emission strength. And for this color, you can just copy these values over to Unreal Engine because it's just a flat color. You don't need to waste any texture size with that. It's pronounced John. Okay. It's pronounced John. Are there any other questions about materials before I move on to getting meshes ported over? If not, I'll just say like a last note about materials, then move on. I don't know enough yet to know what info I'm missing, but the info you've been giving is valuable. All right, then I'll just reiterate one more time about materials. Blender speaks Python. Unreal Engine speaks C++. What you're doing right now is you're trying to translate material information from Python to C++. And the best way to do that is to bake everything down into textures, images that are used by UV maps to give information about how something should look on a model. All of this flat information is being baked onto just images that Unreal Engine can understand in its own way to give you the same look that you have in Blender. I'm using Simple Bake to get all of this information transferred over. And I'm only baking whatever information is actually a image-based property. Anything that's a flat value is something that I can type in manually with a float node. That's something that I can just type in by pressing 1, left clicking, and then setting that value, and we'll talk about that later. So now that I've baked all of my textures through, got everything compressed the way that I like it, let's talk about bringing meshes over. Now, if you're just bringing over a set, like a simple set that is just static mesh geometry, you can either use ABC Alembic or you can use Autodesk FBX. Both will work. For my sake, I'm just going to use Autodesk FBX to bring this set over. So I will go into here, and then I will select objects, which gives me all of my objects here. And then what I'm going to do is File, Export, FBX. And then I'll make sure that's just my meshes, just the selected objects. Make sure everything's fine. I'm not using any animation, so I can turn that off. Make sure everything's okay. Apply modifiers, sure, because I'm not animating anything. And if you think everything's fine, click OK. What I'm personally going to do before anything gets fucked up is I'm going to go to Object, Apply, All Transforms. Just to make sure that everything's okay. And if I like how everything looks, great. If everything turned out just fine, then we get to move on. So I'm going to go back to here, File, Export, FBX. Sometimes you won't need to apply all transforms. Sometimes it'll be totally safe to just bring shit over and you won't have any transformation issues. If you do get something looking wrong in Unreal Engine, applying transforms is more often than not the way to fix it. So I'm gonna make sure everything's fine. Apply modifiers is something you want to use. If you don't care about shape keys or armatures, you use apply modifiers. Make sure to name this properly. Ultra kill. Set mesh. Great. Selected objects, just the meshes, all good. Export. Should take barely any time, if any at all, if it's just static meshes. Now let's say you have an animated character who's moving around and doing a bunch of actions, and maybe you have modifiers on it too. Let's say I had Jiggle Bones when he was shaking his thick fucking ass. Let's say he was shaking his thick fucking ass and he had Jiggle Bones on his wings, or whatever. You might have a very hard time translating that over as FBX data if it's not all based upon an armature. What I have found to be the absolute one-to-one best way of getting animated mesh data over from Blender to Unreal Engine is using Alembic. Alembic records the mesh data as is and then just brings that straight into Unreal. It's insane how well it works. So what I'm going to do now is make sure that the meshes I'm going to transfer over all are just quad or triangular data. So I'm just going to go into my modifiers for, not these, my modifiers for my meshes right here, and make sure they're all triangular. I'll use beauty, make sure all that's fine, and then I'll select all these meshes to do the same. Copy modifiers. If you don't have this where you press Control-C and you have this pop up, I think it's a plugin called Copy Attributes, or there's some sort of plugin that allows you to have more copy information. It's one of the default plugins. I'm not sure which one it is. I can't help you there, so sorry. But I'm making sure all of this is triangulated so that none of it is above 4 sides. I go to File, Export, Alembic. Ultra Kill. Animated mesh. You can name it whatever you want, just as long as you have a static naming convention that you can rely on. Now, I have specific settings that I use for this. I'm going to make sure that I use the proper settings, and I will be showing these settings full screen as well. All right. So, whenever I export Alembic from Blender to Unreal Engine, I use these settings. Scale at 100, flatten hierarchy, selected objects. I don't pack my normals. That is an option for you to decide on. And I turn off export hair and export particles. This can export particle systems if you want to bring your particle systems from Blender to Unreal Engine. I have not had a need for that. If you want it, that's for you. So I'm going to set the scale to 100. These are fine. Flatten, selected. Now, if you want to export your normals, that's fine. Unreal Engine can create its own normal data from the meshes. If you choose to export with normals, you will get a file that is 6 times larger than without them. And these files can get pretty fucking big. I'm talking like 50 gigs for a character. It can get massive. So, I'm gonna turn that off. Make sure everything that I have here is what I want. Face sets is something you want enabled for getting your material data over. I'm happy with everything else. So it looks good to me. I don't use Olympic's version of Triangulate because that can fuck up your mesh. I just use it in the modifiers here because everything in the modifiers will export out. And then I set it to export. You can watch it in real time, export your mesh. You can see the timeline scanning through as it writes the data out. Olympic is not a third-party program. It comes with Blender. It comes with Blender. So once again, while something's exporting, you can go ahead and take a shit or get some water or whatever. It's not going to do anything crazy unless it crashes. How do you make porn with this? You follow my steps. Just follow my steps. If you want to make porn with this, you follow my steps. Nothing's different. Thank you, Tubular, for becoming a member. Oh, I got a cough drop. My throat's sore. How do you unimport other people's models from their computer? And just throw a hammer at it. How do you make porn without this? I guess you use a control rig in Unreal Engine. I don't know how to do that. Maybe someday I will, but as of right now, I don't. It's almost done. It's about 83%. So what's up with you guys? Great, son. All right. Projects. I'm just gonna check my file. Administration. Now this animated mesh I just exported as an ABC file is 1.5 gigabytes. If I were to export this with normals, it would be something like 10 gigabytes. Closer to 8 than 1.5. So if you value your mesh normals that you have on screen, if you value the geometry normals, I'm not talking about texture normals, geometry normals, then bake with your normals with Alembic. If you think that your armature has no problems and it's got like a T-pose on the start frame and it doesn't have any transformation issues, then you can go ahead and export as an FBX for your armature.
Cheese.
You're hilarious and everyone's laughing. You can bake as an FBX with your armature. I've had a lot of problems trying to bake FBX. A lot of problems. If I were to make a game, I'd be using FBX. But I'm not making a game. I'm just trying to render. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. All right. Oh. I'm taking drugs. Because I live in LA. They both correlate. Great. All right. I got my geometry. I got my materials. Now we're going to launch Unreal Engine. Something you're going to want to do, probably before anything or before you go to bed, is set up your project for Unreal Engine. And what I mean by that is when you go to create a project for Unreal Engine, it will take time to compile shaders. And I do mean it will take time. For me, it takes about 20 minutes, and I'm on a 5950. So you might want to create a new project before you go to bed or before you take a shower or something, because compiling those shaders will take time, especially if you enable ray tracing and starter content. I don't use starter content because I have all my shit assembled in Blender, and then I grab shit from Quixel if I want it, but your mileage may vary depending on how you use Unreal Engine. So yeah. Let's start up my project, which I already have compiled, because you don't want to watch that, because who the fuck cares? The air that bad there? Yep. Just gonna close this out. Great. Okay. Gonna load up a project now. And just keep this in a basic wireframe view so I know it won't interfere with Unreal Engine processing. Great. Okay, here we are. Cool. So, now that we're here, I'm assuming that you used Unreal Engine before. At least you've done a couple of tutorials, because I don't want to tell you how to do everything. Let's set up a folder to import our bullshit. New folder. Temp import. Because hypothetically, you'd actually want folders for everything, like your materials, your textures, and your meshes. But for right now, let's set up a temp import for everything. So we're gonna go to import. I'm gonna go over to my Blender saves projects, my Unreal or Ultrakill, do a demonstration. And for now, I just want my set meshes. This will be one of the easier things to fix if it goes fuck up. Now, if you're bringing in shit from Blender to Unreal, if it's a lot of polygons, you'll want to build Nanite. If it doesn't matter, you can leave this off, because this will cause material issues. As well as if you are bringing shit from Blender to Unreal, in a perfect world, you want to import every single different object individually, because that would give you the best results. You don't want it to have everything as just one mesh. If it's a bunch of walls and a bunch of floor props put together, you want those to stay as separate meshes and not combine all of them. I think FBX can do that while still being one file, but once again, mileage may vary. I'm gonna import all. Search location. If you don't have any of this shit, it's not like it matters, so you might as well just use do not search and do not create. You can import textures, but as I've noticed before, FBX hardly ever gets all the textures anytime whatsoever, so fuck it. Import all. Just wait a little bit. It's all static mesh, so it shouldn't take all that much time. Here we go. Great. Cool. We got all of our meshes as separate meshes, which is good for lumen-based properties. I'm gonna grab all this, bring it here. It should all come in as the same. Now, if you have confidence that this will compile properly as its own materials, you can go ahead and try and re-importing with that in mind. So I'm gonna try and select here, select re-import. Although that might just bring it back from the FBX. Yeah, that's just going to bring it back from the FBX. Reset to FBX. You can also use re-import if you make any changes to your FBX and you don't want to have any readjustments to, like, let's say, timeline properties or transform properties. You can just use re-import and it'll swap out that asset.
Wow.
I think I might have given myself a long process by telling it to do every single prop, but, you know, that's on me for just trying to show shit off. Oh well. Thank you, Lord of Blood, for the 15 months. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is just a part two from the first video you uploaded. First video I uploaded. It's attempt 2. It says it in the title. It's not a part 2. It says attempt 2. Yeah, I kind of fucked myself over time-wise by showing that off. Oh well. That's on me. Waiting. Hi. Oh, it's done. Okay, great. Yeah, I just want to do this real quick. Force delete. Make sure it's out of my space here as well. Delete all this. Great. Try this again. Set mesh. Create materials this time. Maybe we'll do a good job. Thank you, Mr. Manley, for the $20. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's still an import with the materials anyways. I'll wait for this donation to end.
Was forced to sign an NDA for a situation we found our market director in. Apparently he was friendly to a certain amount of co-workers of the other sex. I also crashed my scooter on the way home. I'm okay, mostly smiles.
Well, thank you, Mr. Manley, for the $20 and disclosing your NDA that you signed to not talk about. Thank you. Here we go. I'm just going to grab all my static meshes, bring them in. Great, cool. So since Ultrakill's sets are mostly simple, plugged in diffuse textures, I got off easy by just having a diffuse texture. FBXs will normally have a really hard time grabbing all of your textures. More often than not, if you export FBX, you will get your diffuse and your normal and your sometimes alpha, and that's it. Nothing else. So that's why I recommend baking all of your shit down. But I don't really care about this right now. We're going to move on from this. I'm just going to make sure that my static meshes go into my mesh folder. Just keep everything organized. And then materials, go into materials. Right now it's compiling, so I have to wait a bit. And this is something you'll have to get used to, is waiting. Which I assume if you're an animator, you're already pretty familiar with. So, you know, go figures. Great, okay. Bring my textures into my texture folder. Awesome. Everything's cleared out. I have my set here. Cool. If I want to organize this into a folder so it doesn't take up my outliner, go here, right click, then there's a way, move to create new folder. There we go. Scene build. Cool. Minimize that, and we're cleared back up again. Now I'm going to import my alembic, my character. I'll let it know that's geometry cache, because that's how we exported it. Per frame. Flatten tracks. I've been told that sometimes you get better results from not flattening tracks. Honestly, it seems a bit iffy to do this, but I'll turn this off for now just to see what happens. Normally I'd leave this on and it would turn out just fine. I leave these settings on default, but the important things that you need to know are to re-enable your normal calculations if you turn your normals off when exporting. Don't have ignore degenerate triangles on. Have it calculate everything. And then, if you created your materials ahead of time, you can go ahead and select Find Materials. But since we didn't do that, we're going to use Create and then find if there's anything here. There isn't, but hypothetically, if there was, you'd like it to auto-assign. The preset you want to use is 3ds Max. Import. Now, importing Alembic takes a little bit of time. It doesn't matter if you're using a bunch of meshes or one mesh. If it's like 3,500 frames, it's usually a fixed amount of time for the amount of frames that you're trying to import. But for the most part, it's almost always been completely reliable when it comes to bringing the mesh data in. So for the time being, we can wait more, because I know you guys like that. I know you like waiting. I know you like waiting. It's gonna look like it's doing nothing, but in reality, it actually is attempting to import your file. The weird thing about Alembic is that when it says like 15% done, that's basically it saying 100%, so yeah. Anything you guys want to talk about? Any cool fun facts? Kendrick Lamar. Yep. What's the difference with the Autodesk Maya to 3ds Max preset when importing the animation? Different rotational value, different scaling. The positional data should pretty much be the same, but really it's rotation and scaling that are different. They just handle it differently, and setting that preset tells Unreal which way that a model should be facing and how large it should be. Is there any good plugins for stuff like this? No. No, there is not. The best way is the manual way. That is the best way. Anything else, and you get a bunch of issues that you have to fix manually already. So you might as well just do it right. You might as well just do it right. I've tried, man. I've tried to find every different type of plugin to do this automatically. But you will save time. Deadass save time by doing it the manual hard way. You'll save time, because then you'll know when you're done. This might have deadass crashed though. Sometimes Unreal does that. Because it is Unreal. How often it fucking crashes, so. Do you know a way to export textures as a PNG or JPEG from Blender if UE cannot find one? Well, if Blender materials are already using the texture, like you plugged in a texture to diffuse or metallic or roughness, you can just find where that file is and then import it into Unreal and then plug it into your material there. What is your least favorite thing to do with projects like these? Recover data. Recover data, I'd say. I'm going to assume... Oh, I was about to close it. Great. So, we have our animated mesh right here. Exactly as it came out of Blender. We just need to plug in the materials. So if it's off place like this, it probably means that our set is off place. So we just grab everything here. We just set 0, 0, 0. There we go. Great. We can get rid of this. We don't need the floor for now, so just hide that. And if you want to make sure that your character is actually going to run in action, you can go up to here and hit simulate. And you can see the geometry cache in motion, moving as it should. And there you go. He's shaking his ass, just like he did in Blender, but now it's in Unreal. So let's talk about materials. Now, what I would highly recommend you do is take a material tutorial so that you learn how to properly create one material and then create an instance of that material. Because what Unreal Engine needs to do is cache shaders for each different material. And if you have just one material that you're caching from, it saves you a lot of time. But let's say you don't want to create a material instance. You just want to create the material for your object and be over with it. Fine. Okay. New material. I'm going to name it the way it is. And now we're here. As you see, it's somewhat similar to Blender, but it's not nearly as user-friendly as Blender in the way that you can adjust shit right here. So I'm going to go back to Blender and look at certain things that we need to adjust just on a numerical value. Go back into here. I want to see my shit for real. Turn off that. And I know, let's see here, that my clear coat roughness is going to be 0.048. So if I want to get that value into my material, I'm going to hold one, left click, and if I want to change it on the fly, I can convert to parameter. If I don't care to change it on the fly, leave it as is. Set the value to 0.028. I think it was 48 actually. Yeah, I'm dumb. 48. 0.048. And now that's a value that I can plug in to my clear coat roughness when I have it applied. Now, there's specific types of materials that do use clear coat and certain types that don't. So we're going to try and find that real quick. Here it is, clear coat, right there. Bring that right there, plug in that value, and there we go. That's how you plug in numerical values into shit like metallic, specular, roughness, etc. Now, if you have a certain color, let's say for like a mission that you want to plug in to one of these values, hold 3, left click. You created a 3 vector. Congratulations. You can go into right here where it says constant once you clicked on there and set your color. If you want this to be adjustable, right click, convert to parameter, and now you can adjust this value. This is important if you're using material instances. If you're just making one singular material, a one-off, you don't have to worry about creating a parameter. So I'm just gonna Control Z, delete this actually because I don't need that. Great. What I do need is to import my textures. So I'm gonna find the textures for Blood Machine that I baked. It's a lot less approachable than Blender nodes. No shit. No shit. Anyways, Blood Machine, it made the folder for me. Here are all my textures for Blood Machine right there in the simple bake folder right there. So I know I need each and every single one of these. I need my diffuse. I need my normals. I need the EXR, which has multiple variants that is labeled in the EXR file itself. And I need my emission. Great. Okay. So now that I have all those textures, let's make sure that they're in the proper color formats. Default is what you want for diffuse and emission. So that's fine. Normals should be normal map, obviously. And then your EXR should be HDR so that it uses every single channel on a linear scale. So all that's good. I'm going to hit Control-Shift-S to save everything. Otherwise, Control-S will only save the tab that you're on. Close all these out. Keep that open. Hit Control-Space to bring up our content browser. Temp import. And just bring all this into here. Great. Here's my diffuse. Here's my emission. I'll plug that in later. Here's my normals. Bring that down here. There we go. That's metallic, roughness, clear coat, and emission. So I'm going to make sure to plug all that in as it's labeled there. Metallic, roughness, clear coat. I think my ambience ended. Yeah, it did. Okay, I'll just go to here then. All right, hit apply. Let that save. I need emission. So emissive color is right there. Now you may notice that emissive color is the only tab for emission and there's no emissive strength. What you need to do if you want to amplify the amount of emissive power of a texture is press M for multiply. You can set that to that. And once again, press 1 for a float value. And just type in the power that it should have. So like 10, 100,000. And then plug it into your emissive color, and now you have your emissive right there. Now, from what I can tell, this didn't get the color that I wanted. So what I'm going to do is create another multiply here. Plug that into this. Use 3 to create our 3 vector. Plug that into there. Plug this into here. And our color, if we can get this from Blender, is right there. So let's go to RGB. 1, 0.563, 0. There we go. 1, 0.563. And then apply. It's a bit too bright for my taste. I'm going to turn this down to 10. Apply there. And now we have all of our materials just out of Blender the way they were, now in UE. So, if I go into our character here, normally this would have the actual materials, but since I hit create and find, it didn't create blank materials with their names. If you don't have the materials already, you'll want to just use create for Alembic. This will be a bit of trial and error. But it looks like it went on to the right object. So now we have the material on our character here. Just the way that I want it. Save. Let's see. That goes there. That looks like it's going to be our glass material, which is different. So I'm going to set that back to default. Unless it doesn't want to go back to default, and then in which case I'll just type it in manually. World grid. There we go. All right. Did that guy get his computer from the Minecraft donos? Yeah, he did. He's very happy about it. Now that I have all this, I'm going to create my my blood machine glass material. But if we want to get into material instances, we can talk about that now. And all that I have to do to change all of this is go into something like this and then convert to parameter. And now this can be modified when you make it into a material instance. So I'm going to call this my diffuse. I will call this my metallic roughness, clear coat, and then emission. Convert to parameter. Mission map. Make sure to fix that. Convert to parameter. Mission color. Convert to parameter. And oh no. Name this normals. When you convert everything to a parameter, what you're enabling it to do is be changed by a material instance, which is just the same material from before, but only allowing the modifications that you've set up for it. So emission, strength, and this will be my CC roughness. Great. This is a very simple form of a material that can be made to a material instance. Normally, I would use a Quixel basis material and then modify it for my needs, but since we're just doing a basic tutorial, I'm only going to do very simple modifications. So I'm going to name this to MI, Blood Machine, Glass. There we go. Let's see what we need for the glass one. For glass, we baked in a emissive map, which looks like it's actually the same as that, so I'm not going to drag that in. A roughness map, which I am going to use. And then an EXR, which probably just has both of our materials, so I might just get rid of our roughness here. Great. Now, if our glass was a simple material that used the same maps as these, with our material instance, I could just check whatever I want to change, Go into our content browser, drag this in, and now it's the same material from before with just the alterations that we've enabled, which saves us time on shader generation. It saves us time, and it saves us system memory, and it saves us on project memory. However, this glass does use specific parameters that I want to alter, so I'm going to create an entirely new material for that too. I'm going to delete this and create a new material. Lead machine. Glass. Take off one of the S's there. Great. I'm going to refer back to my Blender render of it. So I'm using a specular of 0.8 and plug that in. If you want, you could be completely lazy and bake out the map as is, but that means you're having a 4K bake of just one solid value. So, you know, it's up to you and your time and your memory usage if you want to do that. I don't know why you're speaking Russian, because I'm speaking English. I don't know if you think I can read that, but oh well. Moving on. All right. So what else? Specular 0.8. Nothing there, nothing there. We're using a small subsurface value, so we can adjust that in a moment. Strength, all that. Looks all fine to me. Okay, great. Let's plug in our other values. Diffuse. Metallic. Or, I guess, normal. Using any clear coat? Or not, so you don't have to worry about that. Let's label as roughness emissions. We'll plug that to roughness. And emission right there. Great. Let's see what that is for emission. Same value, so I can just steal that from our other one here. Steal our entire node system here, actually. Just copy and paste that. There we are. We can delete this. Plug that into here. There we are. Mission. Apply. Cool. All right. Let's see. Now there are smart ways to do stuff that reflects. Usually I just steal stuff from Quixel to create a good glass material. So I'm just going to cheese this a little bit right now. Let's see. Translucent's not exactly what I want. What am I looking for right now? Yeah, my brain is blanking out on what I would use for this, but basically Fresnel. Oh, not unspecified. There we are. Okay. Then I'm gonna plug my into there. Yeah, there's better ways of doing this, but I can't think of it right now because usually I just steal glass shaders from Quixel. So as for right now, I'm just gonna do something that looks like shit and then say whatever. That'd be my recommendation anyways, because Quixel already has like a great basis for creating glass materials. It's weird, I can't find the value for refraction right now. I'm completely blanking on what causes refraction to show up. Oh well. I'll just make it super reflective and move on. Here. It's cheating, but it works. There we are. And something to note, if you do not plug in a value for something like metallic or specular, the default is 0.5. So if that matters to you, make sure to plug in a 0. Or maybe they changed that with the 5 release. Let me just make sure. Let's see. If you want to unplug a node without having to drag anything, just press Alt and then click on whatever it's connected to. Yeah, but refraction's not shown here because it requires a specific type of material that I can't think of right now because my brain's blanking on it. Okay, looks like default 0. Never mind. I guess it's just certain Quixel material instances that I use that creates a default of 0.5. Oh well. Great, so we have our glass. So we can apply that now. Right there. So now we have our specific property that we like. We have one more material that we need to create, which is the wings. So I'll just see what goes into that. Looks like it's everything that we use so far. In fact, I'm not exactly sure what the difference is because it's been a while since I've made this, so might just be a different level of emissive, really. Or it could be the roughness. It's probably the roughness, actually. Anyways, let's make our wings material. Cool. All right, let's see what we baked into it. I'm gonna want to dock this. Let's just bring that in. I know that I want this. I know that I want this, wherever it just went. There we are. Metallic. Roughness. Mission. Shrink these down a little bit, move them up. And then once again, steal our node tree from before. Just use it here. And then we can use our clear coat from before because it looks like it's being used again. With the same value of 0.048. So make sure we use clear coat. And I would like to just steal this. It's already cached, it's already being used. So I'm just going to steal this and use the clear coat from this. There we go. Great. Apply there. How's my day been? It's been okay. And then we need our normals as well. Great. Okay, cool. Apply all that. Save it. And everything's set up. So if you were to set up your materials beforehand, get your materials set up beforehand, and then import your Alembic, you would have all the materials actually be found by your Alembic file. And I can show that right now if you just give me like the 3 minutes that it takes to re-import. So I want it to find my materials. Everything's set up the way it is before. Don't want to change anything. So go ahead and find them. And unfortunately, if you do it this way, you will have to wait the same amount of time that it took from before to re-import your file, because it is re-importing the geometry cache the way it was. So you will not save time by importing, creating materials, and then re-importing. You'd want to do it one way or the other. If you do it your Alembic file first and then your materials, you want to use create materials so that you can just like drag them into where they are instead of having world grid material and having to guess. If you do materials first and they're named properly, you use find materials. So now we wait. Like about 3 minutes because it takes time. So once again, hello. Hi. Yeah. What made you want to do this vid? The fact that there's no guides on how to do shit like this anywhere on YouTube, like they just don't exist. So here we are. Yeah, FBX is not the fucking god key. Jesus, I hate hearing that shit. So this will be a neatly edited video? Yeah, hypothetically, yeah. Neo, have you ever mucked about just making a material for a bit and playing with effects? Yeah, of course. Sometimes I'll find something that looks better than my original material. Yeah. How much of the process would you say you've been through as of now? Well, once we have our material set in place, the next thing we do is create a level sequence and import our camera. So that if you had a specific camera in Blender that you wanted to use, like you had a camera that you really liked in Blender and you want to keep it, you can export the camera from Blender and have your shot as you saw it in Blender. But that's after we get everything working mesh and material wise. So yeah. Importing such a time eater? No shit. How long does it take me to make a video? The animation for the Fallout 4 video took 200 hours. The edit took about 40 to 60. A while. Not like it really matters to you. Did I make the animation for you one? I mocapped it. Oh, I'm glad she liked it. Thank you, Dabes. Monk Dabes for the $5. Thank you very much.
Hi.
There we go. And just like that, it imported with everything properly.
Hey Neo, I showed your Nick XMC video to a Korean Fallout 4 streamer. She loved it and said the animation was so high quality. Love you, heart.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Monk. If you still get errors like this, it just means that one of your materials was named improperly. So right here you can see M_Blood Machine_ wings. The material that I named it as was Blood Machine Wings. So something as simple as that can create a default material situation. So it's important that your naming conventions are all proper. But since I know it's just the wings, I can easily just do this. And I don't have to worry about anything. There we are. Now it's all set up. So once you have your actor in place and you're happy with everything and you're ready to start, oh, YouTube's going to do that annoying fucking thing where it buffers because I'm using, shut the fuck up. We'll just use Spotify. Hold on. Use Spotify. Yeah. Great. I love YouTube and its incompetence. Anyways. Yeah, sure. There we go. We're going to create a level sequence, which allows us to render out an animation from Unreal Engine. So I'm going to go back to my content folder and create level sequence, or I could just call it sequence. Create animation. Ooh, level sequence. There we are. And just name it level sequence. Oh yeah, learning Alembic streamlined everything, man. It streamlined fucking everything. So now we're in our sequencer. We are now in a format where we can theoretically create cutscenes for a game, but we can also just create a scene for us to render out of Unreal Engine. So what I'm going to do is make sure that our actor here is selected, add to track, actor to sequence, and since we're already selected on this, just add that. And I want to let Unreal Engine know that on this track, we want to use our geometry cache, which is part of it already. So when I hit play on this, it's going to play out our animation. I need to let this know the ending frame count. So I'm just going to type in, I believe, 3500 and set that to be my end frame right here. If you want to have viewport tools right beneath it, rather than working from the timeline here, you can go into perspective, camera viewport, and then you can have your tools right here. And now I want to add my camera to this. I want to have my camera from Blender. So one thing that I haven't been able to get from Blender is camera cuts from a timeline, but I can entirely get the camera from Blender into my timeline. So what you do from that is you use FBX. So I'm going to grab my camera. I'm going to go to Export, FBX, Camera, Selected Objects, and just name it Camera. Bake Animation. Key all bones, not like that, but sure. NLA strips, I don't want NLA strips. I want it to bake straight from the final transforms, so I'm not going to use either of these. For start and end keyframe, that's always safe. And everything else should be completely fine. So I'm going to export this. And this will take a little bit of time because it's exporting frame data for our camera here. And once again, we wait. And then once again, we wait. Yeah, you can import the camera. Do a little bit of waiting. Yeah, we do a little bit of waiting. What format was the camera? FBX. Autodesk FBX. In Blender, you just make sure that's selected to camera and nothing else. I never export my camera with meshes. It's always its own separate file. All right, it's done. Great. Okay. So now we go back to here, and then we for now, let's just select create new camera to also create our camera cut timeline here. And then for this, actions, I believe it's just import. Import our camera FBX. Match my name. Yep, that's all fine. All fine. Create cameras. Reduce keys. Personally, I don't like it reducing keys because sometimes you get weird hitches. But if you want to save on data, go for it. Import. And now, as you can see, I have my camera exactly as it came out of Blender. Some things that won't get across is the aspect ratio. That's something you'll have to set yourself by going into Filmback and just using 16:9 DSLR film. But it will get your focal length and it will get your camera transforms. Sometimes it'll be stupidly fucking massive though. Which if I go into default viewport, oh, it didn't. Sometimes the camera will be at, oh no, wait, yeah, there it is. Yeah. It'll import the camera at 100 times scale. That's okay. You can clear that out. It looks silly, but it's easy to fix. It's super easy to fix. So we're just gonna go to our transform, go to scale, and then just delete all these keyframes from scale. It's no issue. It's no issue. Just delete all that. 1, 1, 1. No problem. I don't fuck with the import transform because I'm always afraid that it's gonna fuck up my camera somehow. So I don't worry about it. And it turns out fine. So there's my camera as is. Great. Great. Now, one thing it'll also try to grab from your camera from Blender is its focal distance as well. I didn't set that myself, so I'm just going to set it now, which you can adjust with a helper in here as well. Draw a debug focus plane. Make sure that it's in focus with this. You can also try to set it so that it tracks an actor. So tracking, trying to make it track our animated mesh. And if you don't like the distance that it's set off, you can also set a relative offset of that. So I'll try to see where this is going. It's not the right way. Wrong way. I'm set it to inverse. Drag that back in. Bit more, bit more, bit more. And there we go. Great. Just -60 maybe. Great, cool. Now, if you don't like the relative offset, anything with a button like this, you can make it a keyframe that you can adjust. And if you want to adjust it in real time without having to insert keyframes, you can also use create a key when channels/properties change right here. This is your auto key in Unreal Engine right there. Is the hand supposed to be clipping through the leg? No, that wasn't a problem. That's just how it is in Blender, and then it came through. That's my error that was baked properly. Here is the scary music. You will be alert. You will be scared. You will be scared. You will be alert. Anyways. I'm gonna turn this off. Great. So cool. I have my camera, I have my character, everything's set in place. And yeah, if you know how to use Unreal Engine and you know how to set up lights and you know how to fuck with the post-process volume, it's just a matter of personal preference then. It's a matter of what you want your scene to look like, if you want it to be moody, if you want to have certain elements in there. You just drop that into your level sequencer and then you render out very fast at very high visual fidelity. There you go. That's bringing your shit from Blender to Unreal Engine. There's a lot of front-loaded work that you have to do to get everything into this engine, but once it's in the engine, you get great visuals at very high speeds. That is the trade-off that you make. If you are rendering a long animation, I highly recommend using Unreal Engine. Because your rendering process now is just a matter of clicking your render and then setting your file type or resolution you want, and then there you go. It renders in real time. Only if Blender had the same render speeds and visuals, true, but it doesn't. So, here we are. Would I use this if I was rendering a screenshot or a 10-second animation? No. But if I tried rendering the Fallout 4 animation in Blender, it would have taken a fucking week minimum. And there were a lot of fixes that I made to that animation where I could have just easily re-rendered in UE5. Just like, hey, I want to tweak something. I quickly go in, tweak an object, import it. All the materials are already there. And then I have a fix in like 4 hours where it would have taken like 3 days for Blender. So yeah, there you go. That's rendering in UE5. Here we are. Everything else is just a matter of knowing the Unreal Engine 5 program. Holy shit, thank you, Archie, for the 13,000 yen. I believe that's yen. Let me look that up. Hold on. Thank you for the $101. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Archie.
Hey, I was wondering if you could get off the Xbox so I could play Fortnite.
Thank you very much, Archie. Is this a viable workflow for real-world positions, or is Maya still the de facto for modeling? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean specifically? What are you trying to do specifically? Here, let me hide these meshes. You don't see them anyways. Just gonna hide that. Making money with 3D. I don't know. I don't know. Let's turn this back to a lumen. There we go. Put that on 4. Put this on, hit. Here we are. Yeah, I won't need to worry about that. Okay, cool. Very good. What do I think about the new Kendrick album? I haven't listened to it. Sorry. Sorry. Just my exposure. And like 5. 8. And if you want a demonstration of like what UE5 can achieve, if we just turn on reflections only for Lumen, let's say everything was just reflections. Oh, is it not going to give me the view while I'm in that viewport? Hold on. Review. Yeah, I must have a setting on that's just making it go into cinematic mode. Maybe it's because I'm in a sequencer. Yeah, I forget what causes it to only show the lit view. Oh well. Oh, here we are, reflections. There we are. If everything was a pure reflective surface, this is running in real time. So let's say you just had a mirror world and you wanted to render that in real time. It would cost it nothing in Unreal Engine for it to do that. Brutal. Good. What's with this music? I just put on a bunch of game music. This is from Cyberpunk. Great. Okay. Interesting that it doesn't reflect forever in the walls. Well, yeah, it would cost more for Lumen to do that. And most of the time you only need one reflection, so. There we go. If you want, you can switch over to deprecated ray trace reflections. There's some features that it doesn't support, but you can if you want to. Here we are. Here. You see the differences there between ray trace and lumen. So, yeah. One, two, three, 4, 5. Personally, I think Lumen's fine. I think Lumen's just fine for real time. So I don't mind. Yeah. Is there anything you guys want to know from people who do 3D shit about porting stuff over?
Just finished my last final of the semester. Brain is roasted. But big hello waving to you and chat.
Hello waving. Thank you to Dusky for the $5. Thank you very much. What do I use for mocap? I use the Rococo Smart Suit, which is about $3,000. If you can't afford that, you can buy 2 Kinects and use that for motion capture. And if not that, then there's some stuff that you can upload to the internet of just like you recording yourself in full body view, and then it like processes it in the cloud in the weather, and then it rains data on you. Smile. Oh, that's why. Hold on. That's why it was so slow. It's at 30 FPS. Makes sense. Wouldn't the Kinect feed be super chunky? Yeah, that's why you want more than 2. Like if you had 4 Kinects, you'd get some pretty okay mocap. If you had 4 Kinects, like surrounding you, it'd be okay. Material here. We're gonna turn off our sun here. In our skylight. Set that to 100. And set our wings to 100. And this is a fun little thing you'll see a lot. GPU crashed. If you use UE5, you're gonna see that a lot. You'll just have to get used to it. That's just gonna be a thing. You click send, restart, it'll relaunch your project, and there you go. Just make sure to save often. So, what would you say is the biggest beginner's mistake people often make? Any particular pitfalls you've come across? Trying to do things the lazy way. Trying to find a quick workaround to hard work. More often than not, it's always been better, in my opinion, to do things the hard and for sure way. If you know something will work and you know that it will give you the results, more often than not, that's what you have to do. You have to do it. More often than not, that's what I've had to do, is just do things the long and sure way. And I waste less time doing it that way, because I'm not fucking around for 3 days trying to find a loophole. I get it done, and then it's done. Have there been any major issues with 5 so far? Well, I don't program for games, because I am not in that level of expertise yet, so I can't say. In terms of rendering program, it crashes a lot. It crashes a lot. Doesn't crash during renders, it just crashes when I change shit. So, take that how you will. How much can one rely on UE5 only needing perfect topology? Well, if your character's animated, that has to be good topology. If your character is an animated mesh, which is more than likely your character, that needs good topology. It can't use nanite on that. Nanite is only for static meshes. Anything moving needs LODs, needs good topology. Dope. This is important. This music is important. This music and him moving, very important. LODs are a level of detail meshes. When you get further away from something, it loses more and more polygons until it's just basically turned off sometimes, depending on what type of model it is. But you know how trees are like cards? They're just like one polygon from a distance, and then the closer they get, the more detailed they get. That's LODs. Scary ass. Terrifying. 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 Any problems using Connects? Getting it to calibrate is a pain in the ass, but otherwise, no. No. How to do live mocap for Leon VTuber? I just track with the camera, my phone camera. Well, it's not really a specified playlist, Kleiner. It's just a bunch of game OSTs that I put into Spotify. It's nothing handpicked. Have you had any happy accidents happen when working with Blendo or Unreal? Sure. Rarely, but sure. I missed the beginning of the stream entirely. Did he use an export-import bridge? I did everything manually, in the sense that I export with Alembic, FBX, and as texture samples, and then I recreate materials by hand. I import character with Alembic, and I import sets with FBX. Yeah. Fantastic. I'll have to rewatch this whole thing then. Thanks a lot for making it. Yeah, no problem. There's no guides on this, so I felt like I had some responsibility after my Fallout 4 video to make something like this. So, yeah. Boogie. I'm trying to think about what else I should talk about before I say fuck it and drown in ice cream. I don't know. Yeah. There we are. tell us how to put yourself into the game world? No. That is private information. That one thing you mentioned about recording yourself for mocap, do you mean record yourself for animation reference? No, I mean mocap. Recording data for mocap. Yeah. Let me open my Fallout 4 project. Maybe I can tell some more stuff from that. Let's see. Yet. Oh. Yeah. Here's my Fallout 4 set. The whole thing. I guess something I can talk about. If you get texture streaming pool issues, that's going to be a problem with textures at being low res. And the smart thing would be to optimize your texture flow or learn how to use virtual texture maps, which I don't know how to use, really. But since I have a 3090, what I'll do is I'll just type in r.streaming.pool size, and then just set it to a VRAM value that I know that I have in megabytes, and then everything loads in 100%. So, yeah. It's a bit disconcerting. Huh. Any idea on why there's so little documentation for stuff like this, or is it just how it is? It's because nobody's doing it. If anyone is doing it, they're working like in a studio, or they're using assets from the marketplace and just collaging them together, not really throwing shit at the wall like I did. Level sequence. Huh. Okay. That's interesting. That is mildly disconcerting. Well, I don't know where my sequences went, but that's all right because I have a backup of it. So if I ever need to actually look at the sequences for this project again, I guess I'm fine. Knock on wood. What is your opinion on the modeling tools in UE5 by comparison to the standard modeling tools? Limited. They're useful. Like, I've been able to re-topologize certain meshes to not have so many tries when I can't use nanite. But, you know, it's there for emergencies. It's an emergency tool, in my opinion. Yeah, that's my mocap, Quirix. That's my mocap being jittery. I'm actually a little bit concerned about that. Well, that fucking sucks. I don't know why my level sequences aren't there anymore, but that's a little bit of a thing for me to go about later. Or I could fix it now. Hold on. Content. Sequences. Oh, the folder's just flat out fucking empty. Guess I fucked that up at some point. That's on me then. Yeah, that's on me. Oh well, I fucked up. I don't know why I would delete the sequences, but they're not in my folder anymore. They're backed up on my disk though, so If I ever need to, I can go and grab them from there. It's just annoying that I can't have them now. Yeah. That's me waiting to enter. That's me waiting to enter. And then I enter. Can you record the mocap data and then quality pass it easily? Quality pass is not an easy thing to do. It's normally something that takes a good amount of time to do it right. That's the coat going goodbye. But you don't see that. Anyways. I don't know where the fuck my sequences went, but yeah. To be honest, I would avoid modeling in Unreal with my somewhat limited experience. I couldn't do anything there. Meanwhile, I've picked up on Blender in minutes. True. Yeah. If you made a landscape within Blender with grass and shit scattered everywhere and you were importing that project into UE5, would you recreate the landscape using UE5 native or port over existing? I don't know why the fuck I would landscape in Blender. I don't know why the fuck I would do that. I have no fucking clue. I guess if I did do that, I just can't imagine why I would. I really cannot imagine why I would do that. I really have no clue why I would do that. FBX. Bake everything down. Yeah, I don't have an answer to that because I wouldn't do that. Great. Okay. I guess I got nothing else to show you guys, yeah. Why is the water so damn pretty? Because I bought it from the marketplace. It's supposed to be an ocean. Because you weren't using Unreal Engine at the time of the project's conception, but now you're learning UE, that's on you. that's you changing your mind. I don't have an answer for that. You changed your mind. That's your problem. I don't know how the fuck to do that. Unreal Engine has great landscaping tools. And if I were to do landscaping, I would use UE's tools for landscaping. I had to build all these materials. Adapted this material from, what's it called? Quixel's standard material. Made a bunch of modifications to it to do what I wanted it to. Material functions and all that. It's fun. It's fun stuff to get all this shit set up. Yeah. You can take tutorials for this stuff. This is Unreal stuff. Well, attempt 1 stopped because my computer crashed. This one didn't crash. Now we're here. Yeah. Okay. Well, if nobody has any more questions in the next minute, then I guess I'm done doing this tutorial. I'll fuck off. Want to play ZPS? Not right now, no. I can't think one thing. Okay. Tutorial is good. Thank you for the knowledge. Thank you for the information. Brain done. Okay, I'm gonna go then. All right. Bye-bye. 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 Yeah.